we
Also, about my voice, can you hear me clearly? Because last time people complained about they can't hear me or something like that.
yes, your voice is clear enough, and we are live already.
Oh, okay.
We have two people on.
We just have to wait for please at least 100 or as soon as then we start.
Okay, maybe you should try. Stop sharing and okay, you pause the sharing because it's not showing like it. Maybe you can.
Yeah, I'll start
We have two people
after sharing when
on.
yeah,
We just have to wait for
100.
please at least 100 or as soon as then we start. And, maybe you should try.
Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to today's class. If you can hear me, please, I'd love to see your comment on the comment section, just so I know. And let me know if you can see my screen clearly. Okay, so we are already behind time, and a lot of people are yet to show up. So um, like I said, today we're talking about high fidelity prototype. Well, high fidelity prototype, it's takes you very close to what the final product is going to look like, and it gives you a more realistic view of the product you're designing and helps the users to test the flow better. And let me give you a quick example of what a high fidelity prototype looks like. Okay, here I have this. This is a high fidelity prototype. You can see how the interactions work. It works as though it's a real app, so that you can swipe this and then you get to the next page, something like that. So this is what a high fidelity prototype looks like. So um the benefits of creating high fidelity prototypes include: one, they are more presentable to stakeholders. When you want to share what you've done so far in your design process, you use high fidelity prototypes to show your stakeholders. Then it also helps in easier handoff to development. If you're working in a team where they are designers and then they are the engineers, they usually hand over the high fidelity prototype to those that are going to develop it. And then it helps to accurately estimate the cost of development, and it provides the team with a rich interactive experience and helps identify elements that may be missing. Now, the importance of this here is one of the primary importance of a hi-fi for me, because when I always create a prototype, it helps me see what I'm missing. I might create certain screens and then I don't realize that I'm missing something, but then when I prototype them together, for example, let me show you this. When I prototype, it's able to help me see what screens are missing so I can design them and then build the connection between them. So, what are the elements of a good hi-fi prototype? And this is where you make decisions about what color or typography to use, how to manage space, and other elements that we've discussed earlier. And then for this tutorial, we're talking about colors, typography, spacing, and how hi-fi provides the team with a rich interactive experience and help identify elements that may be missing. We already talked about this one. So colors, typography, spacing, and I think icons too. Talking about good iconography. So the first one is colors. As a designer, you have to learn how to use colors properly. It's important to learn color theory and the implications of each of the colors you use in a design. So look at this. Um, sorry. Look at this color theory or image right here. You can see different color mixing. This is called CMYK, means cyan, magenta, yellow, black. RGB, red, green, blue. And there's the grayscale, the HSB, hue, saturation, and brightness. I'm sure you must have seen this or not on Figma when you're designing. For example, let's say this color right here. If you go on that fill, you're going to see all those color um settings talked about, the hex code, the RGB, the hue, saturation, and brightness. So each of these are different settings on how to set your colors. And the more you get to use Figma, the more you understand how this works. So, and then there's the meaning of each color. Like I said, if you've read some materials about color psychology, you understand that certain colors tend to mean different stuff. And then the way you use color matters because it denotes a particular feeling or emotion for your users, to your users. For example, in red could mean love, blood, fire, or energy, or something strong and intense. Purple here could mean power, wealth, ambition, royalty. So and so on. All the colors have what they mean. So, for example, if you're most time when people use when people are building a dating app, they usually use red because red signifies love. When you're building something related to the earth or food or something like that, some people like to use green because it has that feeling. It gives feelings of freshness, nature. You can even use it for finance app because it denotes money as well or growth, something like that. So this you have to take note of when you're doing your designs. You have to make sure that the colors you use align with the feelings or the emotions you want to evoke to your audience. So tools to guide your color selection. Well, first of all, we have material design color. Material design is like a library for design, mostly for Android design. So it helps you decide what colors you can use for your design. Also, this site colors, I have them open here. Colors helps you pick out a color palette for your design. And then material design has this, so you can check them out when you're free. Okay, let me check if we are still following. If you can still hear me, please let me know on the comments. And if you can see my screen clearly, let me know too. Okay, so the next slide here is talking about spacing. Now, good use of negative space makes design look pleasing and usable. It improves visibility and hierarchy among design elements. So here I'm going to talking about spacing rules, how to make your design more pleasing. Because if your design is too choked up, definitely it's not going to look nice. Let me show an example here. Let me see. Okay, here. Okay, no. I'll show you later. So spacing rules of like the spatial system. A spatial system is a set of rules for how to add measure, size, for how to add measure, size, and space to your designs. So using a spatial system will allow for uniformity and consistency across your design. Now, a popular spatial system is the eight grid system. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but it's a popular spatial system. You can work with one you've developed. The 8-point grid is a base unit of 8 pixels and the dimensions of every UI element, whether line height, cards, or even buttons, a multiple of fraction of the base unit, in this case 8. So what this means basically is that for 8-point system, everything you're doing, you're using multiples of 8. What are multiples of 8? 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, and so on. You're using this for the spacing, your line height, your cards, your buttons, they should all have
Actually, your screen is frozen. Maybe you can start sharing again, or maybe stop sharing and start sharing again.
okay, sorry, I didn't realize I paused my share. Okay. So
Thank
like I was saying, the 8 point grid system uses all multiples of 8. So you use that, apply multiples of 8 on your line heights, your UI elements, your cards, and your buttons. So you take note that those that using odd numbers for spatial system might prove difficult to maneuver to progress with design. We have to use numbers like 7, 14, or 9. Like those are odd numbers, and it might be difficult in the long run. But then using 8 point grid is nice because it's widely used among many designers and it's divisible by 4 and 2. So it makes it easy to scale your elements or even resize them across different devices. Um, so this is what we're talking about here. This look at this design here, and then this one on the right. The one on the left, this rectangle is the height is 24. This other rectangle here, the height is 20. This one here is 34, and then this button is 34. There is no consistency between these elements. They all have varying rhythm. Like it's not consistent. But if you look at this place, this is consistent because this rectangle is 24. This is 16. They are all multiples of 8. They're using the 8 point spatial system here, and they are multiples of 8, so it works. Then there's a consistency between your elements. So now this spacing rules, padding. Now, what is padding? Padding refers to the space between UI elements, can be measured both vertically and horizontally. So this diagram explains what padding means, what border means, and what margin means. So to explain it better, I have something here that I did some time back. Okay. This is padding. Padding is the space around an element. For example, look at this button here. This done. This is the padding. The padding between this done and the top of this is 16 pixels. The padding between here and here is 22. So like the padding is the space between from the edge of this button to the text. This is padding around the button. That is what is being denoted here. Hello world. The padding is this white space around the hello world. Now a border goes around the padding. It's around your element, border is really around or outside the body of your element. That's what a border is. And then a margin is the space between your UI element and the, should I say, edge of your design. Let me show you what I mean here. Okay, look at this. Now, this is the margin. This is your UI element. This is your UI element. The space between this point and then the edge of your design is the margin, as you can see here. Here, so same here. This is the border of your design. For example, your design frame. This is the border. So the space between this border and then your UI elements is the margin. So typography is the art of bringing letters and text together to make written language legible, appealing, and clear to the reader. We're able to do this by choosing the right typeface, using it in the right way, and introducing other elements such as spacing. Now, to know if you have good for typography, you must be able to see that your typography holds readers' attention. It helps convey information faster and ensures legibility of the copy. Now, what this means is that, for example, you have a copy that it's so long, your users cannot be able to read as long as it's written. Let's say it's really, really long. I've read somewhere that the length of your text should not be more than 60 characters for mobile designs. So it ensures that the copy is able to be read easily. So the most important thing about typography is ensuring that these 3 points here are like the standouts in your design. So some other attributes of good typography include the copy, the text alignment, and line height and contrast. Copy is the word that goes on your design. For example, this is the copy of this website. Copy is short for copywriting. This is the copywriting of this website. So these are the elements or the attributes of good. They make up what good typography is. So now copy refers to the text that appears on a user interface. Could include the text, titles, the headlines, the body text, labels, button names, etc. So it's good practice to have your copy first before designing. Um, Nobody wants to see lorem ipsum when they are going through your design, basically. Let me show you what I mean. For example, this right here is lorem ipsum. It makes this design less appealing as opposed to when there's a real comment here. This is a real copy, and this is like a dummy content. So it's important that before you start designing, you should probably think about the copy that you're going to use for your design instead of using lorem ipsum every time. And then alignment. Alignment is the setting of text flow or image placement relative to a page, column, table, cell, or tab. So long body text or paragraphs usually look better when aligned left or right, while shorter copies look better with centered alignment. Okay, let's leave this for now. Alignment. There are three types of yeah. Let me show you examples of alignment or what alignment is. Now, this is left alignment. See how the text is aligned to this part of the design. This is the center alignment. It centers your text. And then this is the right alignment. It moves all the text to the right side. Then they are aligned. You can see this here. So now, what this text means, that long body text or paragraphs usually look better when aligned left, while shorter copies. For example, now I have let's see. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, I can copy this. Okay, this is already left aligned. Now, this is a long text. Okay, it's not exactly too long, but then it's long enough for the example I'm trying to show. So this is enough to make this a short copy. So now I'm going to center align this. Then this remains the same. So what that statement was saying, that longer text like this look better when they are right or left aligned, and then shorter text like this look better when they are center aligned. Okay, so this is an example of, you can see how this text is aligned to the left, and it gives it this good, it makes the typography look really, really nice. Now, line height. Line height is the vertical distance between lines of text. It is also called leading or line spacing. Okay, I'm going to show you how to set up your line height on Figma, for example. Now, this is a text, and this is your text setting. So this is for line height. Normally, when you open Figma, your line height is always set to auto. Now, I won't advise you to leave it at auto, because okay, this is an example of what I mean. This text is set at auto, so it looks kind of, should I say, jam-packed. The line spacing is like the definition said, is the vertical distance between line of text. Now, these are lines of text. Look how the text looks like. But then this also says that line height of 130% to 150% is ideal for readability, but even up to 200% is acceptable. So now let's see this. This is set to auto normally, but to improve this text now, watch how I change the line height to 150% and see how it looks. Yeah. So this totally looks different from this. This helps you, this makes the readability better. It's not as jam-packed as it looks here. So this is why line height is important. Make sure that when you're designing, you always see that your line height is appropriate and enough for readability. So contrast. Contrast, first of all, contrast is very important in reading, like determine, like for accessible designs. It means that people are able to see, or the visibility is clear in your both text and images on your design. So to ensure that user experience good legibility and visibility with your copy, choose font colors that have good contrast with the background color. Now take a look at this image here. First one has very poor contrast. Why? Because you're using white on a yellow background, white text on yellow background. It's really, really hard to see. But when you look at this one here, this color on this background is actually very clear enough for you to see. So the trick here is that you should use lighter colors on darker backgrounds or darker colors on lighter background. Let me show you an example of contrast for both images and text. So this is an image now. So for text contrast on images, you can't just put a text on an image. Sometimes you have to reduce the opacity of that image for your text to show properly. So this here is poor contrast and this here is higher contrast. And then for your text, like I said before, use lighter colors on darker backgrounds and darker colors on lighter backgrounds. So here you see how this is barely legible. When I used the different color here it was lighter and it's easier to read here than when it was here. So this is how important contrast is. And then for your design, you don't have to think too much about this stuff. You can use a contrast checker online or WebIM. Sometimes I use this. I have this opened on my system right now. So let me show you how to use it quickly. To determine the contrast of this and this, of this text to this background, this text in front is your foreground color and the background here is your background color. So you get the colors of these two. The foreground color, you put it here. That is the color of that text there, is the foreground color. Put it here, and then you put the background color here. So now whatever color you put here, this is going to show you a contrast ratio. The higher the contrast ratio, the higher the contrast, and easier easier it is to read or to see what's on your design. So if the score is lower, say 2 or 3, it's probably bad. It is bad contrast, and you should not use that color combination. So let's move on to tips and tools to help with your typography. Understanding hierarchy and spacing, type scale, golden ratio calculator. This golden ratio, there are calculators online that help you golden ratio. One of them you can check the font. I'm not sure I remember what that URL is, but let's see. I can't exactly find the golden ratio calculator right now, but then it's online. You can also use it to help with your typography. The one I used to have, you could search for the fonts you're using and then to show you the spacing and the line height you should use for each font size. Then you should learn how to pair fonts. So the maximum amount of fonts you should have in your design is 2 preferably, so that you don't draw attention away from your design. And you should also learn how to pair fonts, because you might use 2 fonts that are not compatible or that does not go well with each other. And then that is bad typography. So you have to learn what fonts go together. And then you should not start putting 3 or 4 fonts just because you want to try out new fonts. You should limit your fonts to at least 2, or just use 1 for all your designs. it's better. And then you can find fonts here. Google Fonts is really popular. They have free fonts there, so you can try it. Consider the mood your product infers or creates. So typography definitely has an effect on your design. Let's see if I can find. Okay, this is good typography. So here I am trying to design a this is supposed to be a horror movie poster. Assuming this is a horror movie poster. So the name is the Walking Dead. You can see the font here. And when you look at the font here, it makes it more horror-like than the font that was here. So this is the emotion you're trying to evoke with this design. So good typography helps you evoke the right emotions you want for your design. So and remember that less is more, the less the better, and you should keep on practicing. So as a side note, you should want to use system fonts because the users are already familiar with them. Yeah, there are certain system fonts that they are really popular. So yeah, people are used to those. So you could try that with that. And then iconography. Icons are simple design elements that are easily recognizable and understood. They help improve visibility and navigation on your product. And first of all, they help to save space. They help users navigate through your products. They can help add a creative touch and personality to your design, and they transcend language barrier. So even if I'm French or the other person is English, we can easily understand what icons are and what they mean. So things to consider when using icons. There are simple rules you must follow when using icons. They should have a consistent style across your design. They must be widely understood, and they can be creative but functional too. You should not use conflicting icons together. For example, a heart and a star. And the 5-second rule is a good way to test your icons. If it takes more than 5 seconds to get it correctly, it should be changed. Now let me demonstrate what good iconography is briefly. Um, Let me see. Okay, so um this is a set of these are a set of icons. Um, for example, we assume that okay, this is a very popular icon. It means home, and many people don't know what this is at first glance. That's why the first 5 second rule comes in. If at the first glance I can't tell what this is, then that icon is probably not something you should use. Or there's a better way to do this. You can write down labels. Labels are important to help users be able to understand what your icons mean. Now, for icons are supposed to be consistent across your designs. And look at this icon. This icon is an outline icon. It's an outline. But then you can't just go and then mix a field icon and an outline icon. It doesn't work like that. Your icon should be consistent. If you are using field icons, this one should also be filled. If you are using outline icon, this one should also be outlined. That is also that. And then your icon should not conflict. For example, a heart and a star. Basically, most times a heart or star used to represent favorites or saved or something you've saved or something like or saved. So you should probably not put these two together because they could sometimes mean the same thing and you don't want your user start thinking, oh, does this mean like, does this mean bookmark or save or what? So you should not use these conflicting icons together like this. Okay. So that's that for iconography. So things to consider when using icons, the simple rules to follow. You should not reinvent the wheel. Don't bring something that nobody's used to before because you're trying to be creative. I mean, it's good to be creative, but make sure that your creativity doesn't make people think too much when using your product. You want to be able to give them what they are already familiar with. And you should use icon labels where appropriate. Your icons should be labeled, especially when you know that they will not know what the icon is. For example, you can assume that people will know that this is the home icon, but then they might not know what this is. So you have to label your icons. So you tell them that this is a home button, and then this is the shop. They should know, label it. And also, the best icon file format is SVG. That's for good scalability and editing. Okay, so this is something I want to clear out, because icons, I see some people using PNGs as their icon. It's wrong to use PNG because it doesn't allow for scalability, and it reduces. Sometimes you can download a PNG that doesn't have good quality. And the SVG allows you to, is a vector file, so basically allows you to change the color of, if you download an icon as PNG, of course you can't change the color when you want to edit it. You can't even edit it. But look at this now. This is an SVG icon. Look at what I can do with it. I can easily scale it. Sorry. I can easily scale it to whatever size I want, and it doesn't reduce the quality. But if so the picture now, I'm pretty sure if I scale it as much as this, the quality is going to reduce. So when you come to an icon site, for example, this now, you're given an option to download as PNG or SVG. You most likely want to download as SVG so that you can be able to edit the icon and for good scalability as well. So other icon sources are the NAM project, Icons 8, and all of my mostly used sites is remixicon.com. Allows me copy as SVG and then paste back in Figma. So yeah, this is good as well. So for additional reading, you can check up these links. I'm pretty sure this slide will be presented or be sent to you if you don't already have it. So that is that with high fidelity prototype. So we're going to quickly brush through iOS and Android UI guidelines. Now this is important because, okay, before I go on, let me check if you guys are still following. Okay, yeah, I think that you guys are still on board. So back to what I was saying, iOS and Android UI guidelines is important because sometimes you'll be required to design an app specifically for the iOS platform or specifically for Android. You want to know how Android designs are being made and how iOS designs are being made. So let's go. Okay, first of all, the typography used in iOS is the San Francisco SF Pro, while on Android it's Roboto. So there's that. The top screen navigation is usually different for iOS and Android. Here you can see where the back button is, and then the text is, and usually they have this rectangle usually at the top of applications for Android. I'm sure you must have seen this a lot if you use Android. And then the action are usually on the right. While for iOS is different. There is an edit button here, the back on the left, and then the page title usually centered when the user scrolls. The next one is the search feature. On iOS, the search feature is like this. The search box, and then you can see the cancel here. On Android, there's the back button. The cancel is represented by X and not a text as in the iOS version. So it's pretty clear how this and this are different. And then the primary navigation on iOS is also different from Android. Although sometimes I've also seen this kind of navigation on the Android. So this is not limited to just iOS alone. But for this, yeah, for iOS guideline, the navigation is usually like this. And then on Android, the navigation is usually a hamburger menu. Remember, when you click on the hamburger menu, it's open the items on the menu. And then usually have tabs on the and on the at the top here. So this is how the navigation is different from iOS. iOS also has tabs, but not exactly like this. They're usually like a toggle in a way, but not necessarily a toggle. I can't find a picture for that right now. The call to action button On iOS, the call to action button is usually placed at the top right, while on Android it's placed down below. You usually see it floating at the bottom. They can usually a big button like this floating at the bottom. So yeah, this is how the primary call to action buttons are made. And then other features, these are not just all the features for iOS or Android design. There are so many others that are different, like the back pattern, the action menu, the selection controls, date and time pickers, and page tabs. So to get full information about the the full guideline for designing iOS and Android apps, you'd want to check out the iOS guidelines. Then check out material design is for Android. You can check out material design and take your time to go through it. It's actually really lengthy and it's a bulky guideline. So you should, to help you to be able to identify what's different about iOS designs and Android designs, so you can be able to design for these platforms. Also, okay, to make this easier, let's see, there's just something called like material design kits or an iOS design kit. So those were already pre-made pre-made design kits that shows you, or that has already designed how should I put it? They are like design elements that are based on this iOS design and material design. Let me see if I can find one quickly. Material design. Okay, let me open this one. Okay, so here you go. These have already been designed. So you can come here, copy what you need, and then go back to your design and edit it. Here has the app bars. Like we've talked about the navigation, all the stuff that you need for designing Android apps. So you can come here, copy what you need, and then take it to your design and edit it to fit what you're designing. So that is that. They have for both iOS and Android design. You can check on the Figma community, you'll find them. So additional reading, you can check out this link, and they talk about this iOS and Android guidelines. So you can check out their complete guide and get to know all the details. So this is the end of our class for today. We'll be taking questions now. If you can ask a question about what you don't understand, and I'll answer that. Do we have any question? I can't seem to see any question here. Or do we all understand what we talked about today? Okay. I still can't see any question here. Okay, somebody wants an explanation to what the copy means. So like I said, copy is short for copywriting. It's the text that is being used on your design. So let me see. Like I showed you before, um, copy is different from dummy content. This lorem ipsum is a dummy content. it's used as a filler for your design, but it's bad practice. But then this is a real copy for your design. This part, they're all real copies because they are actual things that you would expect in a real app. So this is it, the copy I was talking about. They look actually real. You think this app is a real app because the text here is real. But then if you come here, you're seeing lorem ipsum. It's a dummy content, so it's not advisable to use dummy content. You want to have your copy ready before you start your design. Okay, someone is asking about the back navigation, if it's specific to Android or an iOS. Hmm. The icon type. I'm coming. I don't understand what you mean by that. But let's see. So this is the back in Android. I think it works the same way. Then most times in this is how the back works on iOS, and this is how it works on Android. So it's kind of different. Okay, somebody said they tried to practice body images and design doesn't fit the screen while I preview. Okay, I if you are using an image that is too big for your frame, it's definitely not going to show well. So let me see. Okay, while you preview, okay, let's see. Um, let's go here. This is a design right now. So the image is this is an SVG icon though, but then it has been scaled to fit this frame. Now I used a mobile frame here, 11 Pro, to design this. So when I'm previewing, first you come to check your prototype. Make sure that the device you are using under your prototype settings, make sure that your device is right. For example, I'm using the iPhone 11 Pro because that is what I use for the design. Sometimes you can design a web and then you have to use maybe none or custom. So you choose the device so that it's previewing right. I don't know if that's exactly what you meant, but then I hope that answers that question. I haven't seen any other question yet. So we'll be calling this class, we'll be ending this class here. Thank you everyone for attending, even though we're not that much, but I think the class was a success generally. So thank you very much for attending. And if you have any more questions, you can ask me on Slack and I'll try to answer. So good night.